So if you're wondering what automatic guns you should be using for long range, stick around because in this video I'm going to break down the top 10 best automatic guns you should be using for long range engagements in Warzone. The legendary J-God maintains an online spreadsheet with all of the times to kill or TTKs of all the guns in Warzone. I used his data, thank you J-God, and I compiled my own spreadsheet of average TTKs for the 10 best guns at long range. And when I say long range, I mean well into their second damage drop off. So these guns should be able to, you should be able to shoot people at, around 100 meters with some of these guns, and confidently if you have some practice with them. And that, for me, that defines a good gun at long range. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken all of their different TTKs at different locations, hit locations, on your target. Like for example, here we go, head, chest, stomach, limbs. Okay, and so I've compiled all of the TTKs or times to kill, how long it takes you to kill an enemy, to kill your target, to take them out of the game if you're only hitting the head, for example, or the chest, or the stomach, or the limbs, right? This is the time in milliseconds, okay? So what I've done then is I've averaged it out, because you can never assume, unless you're some kind of god player, you can't get all headshots, or you probably aren't going to get all chest shots, or all stomach shots, or all limb shots. So I've simply taken an average of all these different TTKs from all these different regions of the body that you could potentially hit your target in, and I've come up with an average time to kill for each one of these guns. And based on that average time to kill, I've assigned them a rank. 1 is the best, has the best TTK, and then 10 is the last place gun out of all these. Now all these are potentially meta guns, which means most effective tactics available in the game, right? These are all what I consider potentially viable meta long-range automatic weapons in Warzone, okay, for various reasons, including the potential to hit targets at around 100 meters or more with practice, and some of them, right? For example, some of them like the M2, the Cold War AK, C58, Pharah, maybe XM4. Some of these guns have more recoil than others. M4A1, some people consider that one a higher recoil gun, but guns like the PKM, the Stoner, the Pharah, the QBZ in particular, the Growl in particular, these guns don't have as much or as difficult to control recoil as some of the other ones can for some players. So there's different factors involved here as to whether or not you'll be able to achieve some of these times to kill. However, I'll be making additional videos in the future that include things like recoil pattern testing. So you'll be able to see what the differences are in the recoil between all these guns. But strictly speaking here on average TTK, the PKM comes out on top, and by quite a bit, okay? By 40-ish milliseconds, which is a significant amount, okay? So the PKM, just by average TTK, is the clear victor, okay, out of all these long-range guns. And then next is the EM2 with 622 milliseconds, and then next up is the AK-47, okay, and so on down the list. Now, you hear a lot of people talking about the Stoner and how it just is, it demolishes your enemy. It does. It's got a 665 average TTK, but it's nowhere near as effective based on TTK as the PKM. So the question I would have is, why isn't everybody using the PKM? I think it's because it has like a 7 or 8 second reload time. The Stoner has a much lower reload time. However, the Stoner has a much slower ADS time than the PKM. So it's a trade-off, right? I think there's a lot of people that are sleeping on the PKM, to be honest. The next up is the C58, which honestly, until I did this work, I thought the C58 had been nerfed right out of this meta, but I guess not. The M4A1. This might surprise a lot of people. Its average TTK is actually, it's pretty good. It made this list, right? It's even better, average TTK speaking, a bit better than the XM4. And there's a lot of people saying the XM4 is a fantastic, one of the best guns to use right now in Warzone for long-range engagements. The Pharah, it was an absolute bomber for a while. And then they nerfed it, and now it's at a 702 average. Whereas before, I bet it was around 600 before they nerfed it. So it got a hard nerf. It's still a little bit easier to control in some ways than some of these other ones. So, there's still benefits to using it. It's still a fantastic gun. But the QBZ is next, and that is probably one of the easiest guns to control in this list still. I would say right in line with the Growl. PKM, in my opinion, is very easy to control too, and the stoner's not bad either. So the QBZ, if you can hit mostly chest shots, I think you'll find the QBZ to be a very, very effective gun at long range. I've absolutely destroyed people with the QBZ, and for the longest time I was telling people to use this gun because it was better than the Krig when the Krig was the meta. So this gun also has caught a significant recoil nerf, but they have left the damages alone. So it'd be really nice if they kind of evened all this out. You can see one of the main differences here is the QBZ has different damages for these, the chest, stomach, and limbs, whereas most of the other ones do not. Okay, that's a major difference here. That's probably why the QBZ is so low on this list. Next up is the Growl, which once again has the same damages for all of these, but it's at a 740. So with the Growl at a 740, average TTK being the worst one on this list, I would say this list, this is quite a list of effective long-range guns. You really can't go wrong if you master any of these guns in Warzone. So if you got any value out of this video, please give it a like, and make sure you're subscribed so that you always know when my new videos come out. Got a lot more videos coming here in the future. And leave a comment what you think about any of these guns. Have you used them a lot? Do you have experience with them? What are your thoughts? I'd really love to hear your thoughts on these guns, and if you leave a comment, I will respond. I respond to every comment left on every one of my videos. And if you want to see what they did to guns like the Pharah, Krig, and QBZ in the latest round of nerfs, check out this video.